The intention of hiking is not to actually get to the top. Most times it's for you to follow a path step by step. Now, the beauty of life is not actually if you achieve your dreams or your goal, but if you actually achieve those steps you want to take. Hello, welcome to the best podcast in the world. My name is Providence Essien and I'm your host. This podcast is actually produced by Narcissists ICT, and today we'll be discussing happiness and growth. I have a very interesting person that will give us a very interesting conversation. Now, she's a writer, a soul writer. She writes from the soul. She's also an entrepreneur. She's many things in one person. Now, without further ado, with the resounding virtual round of applause, please welcome Queen Esther Davids. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
I'm so happy having you here.
I'm happy also seeing you, sitting close to you too.
I feel, what are you going to write about this event? Because I feel you write.
Well, for now, my writings won't really be silly, until I need to.
All right, today we are discussing happiness.
Yeah.
And people say, you ask somebody, okay, what is the greatest achievement you want in life? Some will say, I want happiness. People define happiness in different ways, in different form. Some describe happiness differently. Some say derive happiness from having a good job. Some derive happiness from having more likes on social media.
Okay.
Happiness from eating.
Having so much money.
But to Esther Davies, Queen Esther Davies, describe happiness.
Oh, well, sincerely, happiness for me is just a very beautiful feeling where I am joyful. I have this glee. I feel very excited or not to be bothered about anything, basically. That's for me. Most times I have this feeling where maybe I just stay inside. I'm writing. I just have that excitement in my mind, and even when I'm not smiling, especially when I'm alone, where I have to take something, especially when I know that I have a particular stuff I have conquered. It brings that excitement,
Okay.
And so it makes me from inside, I just glow out,
Okay.
Where I just feel light. I feel very joyful, where sometimes if I step out, in that kind of mood,
you can
someone
dash
can
money.
easily, I can dash you something.
But actually, must happiness be around the things you that happens to you physically?
No, most times it's always from my mind. Sometimes I just I'm trying to reminiscence on what I, sometimes what I'm looking at, what I'm thinking, maybe a picture of my goal or what I am thinking of, or probably I am trying to remember what I had conquered. You get, so I am like, oh really? That's super. You know what I'm saying? So in that kind of situation, I feel very, very happy. I'm like, oh, so small me, I can do this. Big me, I can do that. You know that? So I can easily, feel very relieved to feel that I have won a particular battle or I have done I've conquered a particular stuff, so that's me.
Does public perception, public opinion, your friends around you, people around you, your relatives, your family, your friends, can they actually affect your mood?
Oh, yeah, sometimes. There was a time
Can they make you unhappy?
Yes, but I intentionally take
I want to
myself
hear that
out.
word, intentionally.
Yes, they can. People will always try to put me down. I truly speaking, I cannot control how they feel towards me. So it is from my own intentions. I just decide to follow them, feel that way, or I just take myself out and feel differently.
So I mean, like, to you, happiness is intentional.
Very intentional.
That's nice to hear. Now, can you share with us any story, any situation where you've intentionally said, no, this one, nothing. I keep my happiness.
Well, I'm from a large family of 9. I'm the last born, where we respect hierarchy. Where...
Do they flog you if you don't?
You can't flog me when my dad is around. No, you can't. So, in my house, would I put the word subtle bully? You know, where, come on, I'm your elder, I'm your this, I'm your that. So
They want
go
to
and do this.
emphasize it.
Yes, they always have to remind you
Yes.
that they are bigger than
Like
you.
you came and met them, yeah.
And man, it can be very crazy, especially if maybe you're coming back from somewhere and then they tell you, go and bring that seat for me, go and bring that for me, and all of those. So you're just living from maybe your eldest brother sends you and your elder sister sends you and another elder is sending you and all of those. And then just a little time you want to go and rest, maybe your immediate elder just tries to send you when you're trying to rest, and you don't give excuse.
Yeah.
So what do? Already I just want to blow out, I just want to react, I'm like, I'm tired, I'm this and that. So what do I do in that kind of situation? I try to make them understand that I'm tired, or I lock myself into the room, or like now that I'm grown, I can always excuse them that I want to go somewhere to ease off. So I just try to take myself out.
Okay.
And I only come back when I think everywhere is calm.
Okay. Now, you see, people define growth differently. People say, to them, growth is when they are actually doing what they want to do. Growth is when, some say growth is when they don't listen to the noise, the external noise. They actually have a focus, they know themselves, they understand themselves. Whatever you say about them doesn't actually affect them. They believe that growth, people define growth differently. Now, to you, I ask again, Exeter, David's Queen. What is growth to you?
Oh, well, if I want to define from my own perspective, I think growth is the ability to increase, maybe mentally, financially, socially, and otherwise. So if I grow from maybe, let's go back to what I just described, like maybe my family, from reacting, whenever they do this, and I just look at them and tell them, come on, I think today is not the day, I just not react when probably they trigger me. So I think in that aspect, I think I've grown.
Okay.
So I'm getting better. So I don't even get my mind worked up. I'm feeling very bad because I'm around some people and all of those. So instead of reacting, I just look at them and just smile. So in that aspect, I think I've grown. So if I get better on a particular course, I think that's growth.
Now, you see, there's something about your own description of growth, because you see, a lot of people are actually going through depressed times, and if you look at them, nothing is actually happening bad around them, but they just feel, since they are comparing themselves to other people physically, they feel that when they see people who actually put the good part of their life, the good times of their life on social media, they feel, me, I'm not growing. No, is this not my friend? They feel growth must always be material, must always be physical. So how do you fight such feeling?
Growth basically starts from your mind. So it's what you think about yourself is who you are. It starts from your mind. So when you can, first you start from, if you're a Christian and you believe the word of God, so it's about what God tells you, that this is who you are. You believe it because it's about your mind. If you can believe it, then you walk towards it.
Okay.
You get? Now, most times when I'm even stressed, that's when I go on social media and just go to put out all those things to make people laugh. When other people are laughing, I'm also laughing. Someone could just have, if you follow my post, you just see most of those funny things I just put out. I'm writing that so that when one person is laughing, it triggers my own laugh, and then I laugh and somehow forget about my stress. Now, when I am alone, I'm trying. Now, this is what really makes people, for me, this is what I think really makes people sad. When you are worrying instead of thinking.
Okay.
I don't worry. I don't know how to worry. That's why I like being alone most times. I'm not alone because some people used to think maybe I'm depressed and all of that. I like solving problems, and it's in my head. I can stay with you and then I'm thinking of how to solve a particular backlog of problems I have, thinking of how do I do this, how do I do that, when should I do this, why should I do this, and all of that. So I am always stuck alone, trying to solve those problems. And once I solve those problems, it makes me happier.
Okay.
And then a little time, it begins to show physically. But first, I've conquered it in my mind, because if I'm solving the problem in my mind, I think I'm done.
Wow.
That's me.
So to you, your mind is the most important place.
That's why I try not to. I don't even joke. Anything that wants to make me feel bad or make me feel down or stressed or something, I just take myself out quietly.
That's good to hear.
That's me.
Now, okay, after this short break, we are going to continue this conversation. I think it's getting very, very, very
Oh.
interesting. See you when
That's
we are
right.
back. Welcome back. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and put on the notification bell on this channel because we drop amazing content. Now, we are still discussing happiness, growth, entrepreneurship with Queen David's Esther. Welcome back. Now, let's talk about you as a writer before we go to talking about you as an entrepreneur. As a writer, how do you actually get your concept in writing?
Oh, well, most times the picture is in my head, depending on how my mood is at a particular time. So I could decide to, okay, there was a day I went to the office and I saw two cockroaches. They were mating. So a lot of things entered my head and I was just like, what's going on? What if this is happening? What if that is happening? And I just went back and I was writing on that. And I'm like, okay, so before I killed it, what if this cockroach was actually the only person in their family?
That's a very strong
question. You understand? Oh my God. It depends on how I feel on a particular day.
Okay.
Or maybe someone's story, someone tells me something and I'm trying to add it to my life. And I'm adding it together and then I'm trying to, get a story to motivate another person or help myself out of maybe future situation and all of us. Or sometimes I just think maybe anything that happens, it puts me in a particular condition to write, and it only happens when I'm alone. So when I have people distracting me, I could go off.
Are you a selective writer?
Depending. Yes.
Does your mood actually affect the concepts you actually write about?
Yes.
So mean that when you're not happy, you don't write well?
Yeah. Sometimes I couldn't.
But there's some people that actually they write even when they are not happy. So even when they are sad,
my storyline will also go towards that part. Maybe not for me, maybe for another person. I could just begin to think of something to write. Now I'm trying to also put my mind differently, where I am. Anything my mind just tells me, just like maybe Facebook says, what's on your mind? I just write. So right now, I don't really want to write everything on Facebook, on Twitter or something else. What I'm doing now is my iPad is my friend. Okay. So if I'm feeling that weird, I just push it, write it on my notes, and then store it. I could either develop it or I write something else and someday I'll just marry it and make a chapter, write an article.
Wow.
So that's it.
Share with us your current job. What are you doing now? The writing idea you actually write. Can you share with us?
Okay, about my book?
Yes, what you're writing now.
Okay, so the book has lingered for a very long time. I've been because I really want to have everything in that book. I've also been told that I can't have everything on the book.
In one book, you cannot.
I can't. So let me just bring out what I have so far. I know there was a time in my life I felt like dying. There was a time I felt like, just giving up. I don't know how it would have happened, but I just wanted to give. I just wanted to pack my bags and go back to the village,
No, so the village is not dying.
Village is also dying. I just wanted to, I'm tired. Let me just lock up and then just go somewhere else and stay. So I drag some strength. My dad is actually, I don't know. My dad is someone who I want him to stay forever because...
Wow. Forever?
Yes. He's 99.
You want to stay around 5,000 years?
I would love him to stay forever, as long as I'm around. Daddy had many ways of teaching me lessons. I remember when I when I was doing medicine and surgery, and I lost it in my third year, and Daddy had to. I wanted to go to UI and start afresh. Well, I'll not have to see my classmates. I'll just, because I wherever I am, I'm always fully involved. So I just didn't want to feel bad that, oh, my colleagues are in their fourth year and here am
Just
I
in your
coming to
third
start
year.
by. No, year one.
Okay. Wow.
So Daddy told me, go back to where you fell and stand. Rise from there. I still went back to Unical and did my year one. And I graduated. Whatever it was, to me, it was a setback, but also God had a plan for me. So each time I finish that, I conquer that area, there's also something waiting for me immediately that will just take me up on another success journey. So that's how until I meet another obstacle somehow, and then go through it. Now, my dad helped me to see problems as ways to learn how to overcome it. Just fight it, keep going until you win. So he taught me in different ways. Daddy also made me, one day when I didn't want to think, when I was thinking about suicide, Daddy also made me not to. Why? Let me share that idea also. There was this day I don't know what happened. I don't just know what happened. Gas finished, and then Daddy stopped us using stove because he said we didn't always know how to wash my mom was staying here in Akwa Ibom. Daddy was in Calabar. Mommy used to come weekends. That we didn't know how to manage the suits that used to come out from the charcoal, from the stove. So he stopped us from using stove. We didn't also have kerosene. So gas finished, he didn't buy gas. So one of those days when he was coming back from Akwa Ibom, he now brought firewood. I didn't know how to do that. Yeah, my cousins helped. And one afternoon, Daddy said he wanted to eat pounded yam, so he had to cook.
Oh, on firewood.
Shit. It was hot. And I was crying, Daddy, why are you so wicked? Daddy, why are you so wicked? Daddy, this, and my skin. I started becoming red and all of those. Daddy would just come and look at me and make it look like he was one, hair out like that. And then suddenly, I was talking, and then he left, went to the parlor. We finished cooking, and then we were there in the parlor watching movie. I forgot I was crying. So then he went into his room and came out and said, Shebina, you're laughing. You've suddenly forgotten that you were by the firewood, shouting. Better do what is right. Because hellfire, there's no time up. There's no time up. There's no break time and all of those. So I was like, whoa. So since then, he also said, if you kill yourself, you take the life that you didn't give, you're going to hell. And I'm like, whoa. So since then, how will I kill myself? I won't even have time to tell God I'm sorry. So I'm imagining how I'm going to live forever. Forever, he said, you know that you have to spend 20 years, 35 years working. So you're going to rest after that. Or you have 6 years in the university. You just know all those time. But forever, you don't have any time. So you're going to burn there forever. So I started becoming very conscious of my mind and the things I do. So what am I saying? My dad helped me a lot, in pushing. He helped me to see obstacles as a process, so I'll pursue it. Now let's come back to my book. It's also something, since I had conquered it. It's something I told myself I was going to pen it down and help other people, because some people have given up. Some people have given up. Some don't even know what's wrong with them. Some people just lose their mind and all of those. It's not really about my own, what I actually went through. It could be maybe you lost someone, or you lost your properties, or anything, any kind of pain, any kind of loss, in any way you've actually lost something. So it's just a book. If you read, you just feel light and always have hope to keep going.
Now, was it that what your dad told you, that if you kill yourself, you're going to spend all your eternity in hellfire without any opportunity to actually have a break? Was that point the turning point for you?
Yes, majorly, yes, it was. And added to the fact that as I kept on growing, I realized that there are some near-death cases that could have taken me. But I just knew that this is just God. It could have been no other person. It could have been no other thing. And also, take for instance, there are times that I would have been labeled a thief if not for God. God just helped me that the person who did it when no other person was looking, he just linked it up and the person was caught. You know, so it would have just happened that I would have been called a name that it was not mine. You get it?
Yeah.
So God just made it happen. So for the fact that God has always shown himself differently for me, I added to that fact, and God is not somebody you should joke with. You know, so adding to the fact that I didn't have to kill myself, and also knowing who God is, it added up to just taking very personal.
Wow, what of those that don't actually believe in God? How would they stay away from suicide?
Oh well, it's their understanding, and I've always known that sometimes it's not their fault. They just lack what's one thing, information.
Okay.
The right information. Because there was a time in my life where I was not even thinking about all these things my dad told me, and I just needed the only way out to overcome this shame, to overcome this guilt, and just to be okay. I don't like being in pain for a long time. Can I just rest? So I just said no. Instead of thinking of suicide, there can always be a way out. There can always be another way out. So I now, suicide was not a way out. So I just shifted that way and then went to another way. I just had to leave that situation. Then there are more consequences.
All right. Now, going through such situation that gave you those kind of thoughts, and you today, what have you actually learned?
Nothing lasts forever.
Wow.
Nothing. Just have hope. And being an optimist, just don't take away my life. Just leave me.
Okay.
Take away everything. It will always come back. The thing is not in those things, it's in me.
So there's nothing worth dying for?
Nah, nothing. Nobody. Nothing.
It's so touching to actually hear you say these kind of things. Because most times I feel, why do people actually kill themselves?
There are people with, yes, there are people who can't withstand pain. There are people who can't withstand stress. Like now in Nigeria, there are people who would want to commit suicide. So a lot of my friends would tell me, I just think you wouldn't even stay in this country. All of this, heaven and earth. And I'm like, I can't even enjoy another place other than Nigeria. Not even Nigeria. Akwa Ibom. I can't even enjoy. Yes, I love traveling. I love going to places. You travel, you come back, and all of those. And just, there was a time I wanted to relocate, not to leave Nigeria, to go to another state to stay. And I'm like, there are lots of things if I leave this town that I'll miss. The people who genuinely love me.
Yeah.
Food. Our food. Very important.
Yeah, very, very important.
Our food. How can I lose these things because of what? Nah. I just changed my facade. I just had to move differently. So, nothing. I'm here. I'm growing here.
Okay.
And we're still here. We go to other places and we come back. That's all.
All right. I want us to relate what we've actually discussed today to one. We've talked about happiness. We've talked about growth. We're talking about what actually leads to suicide and the rest of it. I want us to link it up together. Now, at what point in your life do you realize that everything about life is vanity? Nothing happens for you, or nothing happens around you that is actually permanent. That anything that happens that has a beginning will have an end. At what point do you accept that reality?
Oh dear. It was in 2018. I had a very terrible experience that, I just didn't know how to go out of that. And those were the periods I had all this encounter, like thought of killing myself. And I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? And then someone told me, if you kill yourself, it's not really about the things you see. It's not really about the people, us. It's not about us who love you. It's not about that. It's about your dreams, the things you actually always wanted to be, the things you really wanted to have. First, it go pain you.
Very well.
Wherever you go to, it go pain you, like
Especially when you go to hell.
you're like, gosh, it go pain you. So I thought that first, after being a loss to myself, my parents who love me so much, and the people also who love me, I didn't want to be a disappointment. I'm not talking about God. I'm talking about people.
Yeah.
Aside myself and my parents and my other people who love me so much, now I'll be a waste. So I thought about starting. I just look for another formula to work.
Beautiful. And it worked.
Look at me.
I can see.
Look at me. I wish you saw me those days. I wish, really. You know, that's why when people who don't even know me, they were like, I tell people, I'm able to. So they were like,
They will not believe you.
They won't believe me
Nobody will
because
believe that kind
I
of
don't
thing.
even look like it.
You don't even look like what you went through. That's beautiful, though. That's a very nice slang. You don't look like what you.
No, I don't.
I think we'll continue this conversation again
Okay.
and a bit more deeper. Let me allow you the time to actually can get your thoughts together about your book, because we'll talk more about your book
Yeah.
by then. But before we go, I'd like you to actually give us a final words.
Oh, there a lot to say, but putting it in one phrase, nothing is worth dying for. Nothing is worth killing yourself. And life is too short to bother about things that don't get you happy. You see, your happiness, your mind, very important. Because when you cloud your mind with the negative things that happen around you, it's not going to give you a positive product. It's not going to give you, your productivity will drop. But when you're always positive and you're always with the right people, because there are some people you roll with, their thoughts every time is always on the negative and all of those. So you will tend to, because who you look at, often you begin to look like them.
Beautiful.
You look like the negative people, you begin to look like them.
Look at the
So,
positive people.
like I would always say, I like to go to the kinds of people I love to look like. Go there, build a tent. I don't mind starting like a nanny, like a maid. You keep when you stay with the rich, even if it drops like whatever, before you know it, you begin to have a mentality of the rich, and then from there.
That's a very strong one. I'll take this one. You actually look like the people you look up to.
Yeah, the people you look at.
You look at, okay. The people you
Look
look
at them
You
very
actually-
well.
Very strong one. I'm not sure I'll forget that. Thank you very much,
You're
Queen
welcome.
Esther Davis, for showing up. I will bring you again.
No problem.
All right, no problem. On that note, we'll come to the end of today's episode. And please do not forget to like, subscribe, and put on the notification bell on this channel, because we bring amazing content. And also, do not forget that the elite of the 21st century are not those who did not go to school or those who will not go to school, but are those who have refused to evolve as their environment is evolving. My name is Providence. See you again.